viewers, welcome back to Maxwell Starr's Beer Review. Tonight we're going to take a look at Innis Gunn's Highland Cask. This one here is matured in rare oak barrels that previously contained 18-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey, matured for 69 days. This bottle comes from a select batch of 490 barrels. Now, they produced this particular beer for the last 3 years running. Starting in 2009. In 2009, it was an 18-year-old whiskey barrels, but they matured it for 71 days instead of just 69. Last year's version was in 21-year-old barrels, but they only matured that one for 49 days, so a lot lower. This one here, 18 years, 69 days. So I didn't get a chance to have it last year or the year before. Heistel Mighty got a chance to have it in 2010, last year, but he said it basically just tasted like butterscotch, and it lacked a lot of character for an Innis Gunn beer. But I had a chance to try one of these a couple weeks ago by itself, just so I could have something to drink, and I'll give you my thoughts here in a second. So crack it open. It's got a really nice looking box. See what it says on the side here. It says, earlier this year, we were lucky enough to obtain some extremely rare oak barrels from a famous distillery in the Highlands of Scotland. These barrels had been locked away for 18 years, maturing single malt Scotch whiskey. So I don't know what brand they are. Once they had been emptied, we filled them with beer, brewed to perfectly complement their rich, complex flavors. Then over weeks of maturation, our beer slowly unlocked these delicious flavors from deep inside the oak. Tasting the beer as it was maturing was an incredible experience. It seemed to grow in character with every day that passed. Only when we felt that it couldn't possibly get any better did we bottle it for you. We think the result is absolutely delicious, and we hope you enjoy this beer as much as we do. A word or two about the beer. To complement the flavors drawn from these very rare barrels, we have created a special recipe using some amber malt, which has added some beautiful full maltiness, and some Slovenian Styrian hops to give the beer its zesty character. For anybody who doesn't know and is familiar with Fuggles hops, Slovenian Styrians are genetically indistinguishable from Fuggles, so they're very similar. Now, I gave this beer a chance to warm up, kind of like a brown logo. I think in previous years it was green. Matured in 18-year-old single malt whiskey barrels. Special bottling of Innis Gunn has matured in oak barrels, which had previously been used to mature 18-year-old single malt Scotch whiskey from the famed Highlands of region of Scotland. The result is this unique maturation is a smooth, complex, warming beer with notes of vanilla and toffee. We hope you enjoy this beer as much as we do. 7.1% ABV. Now this, of course, comes from Edinburgh, Scotland. It's got the standard Innis Gunn cap on it. So, crack it open with my BB Barfly. Now, if you haven't watched this channel before, I've reviewed several Innis Gunns before. I absolutely adored the rum cask and the original. Didn't really care for the blonde, and I thought the Canada Day was really good, Canada Day 2011, but it was a little too sweet for my liking, but it was still good. So, let's see if this one differs. Now, as typical for Innis Gunn, it's not a whole lot of head, although I'm getting a little bit of a finger off of that. It's got a light yellowy tint to it, but it's mainly bright white. Color-wise, it's kind of this copper amber kind of color. A little yellowy around the edges. And the head seems to be dissipating rather quickly. Doesn't look like it's a beer that's going to leave a lot of stickiness, but most Innis Gunns don't anyway. But for those who don't know, Innis Gunn, if you can't guess already, they make their beers, they brew the beer and then they age it in oak casks that previously held something. This particular one was single malt Scotch whiskey. So I absolutely love oak aged beers. This is probably not going to be no exception. So let's give it a sniff. Now I'm picking up a hints of butter, toffee, and vanilla. A little bit of caramel malt sweetness. but not really a very omnipresent smell. Is this recording? Yes, it is. Oops, something in my shirt. It's not a very, very strong smelling beer. Like, what the smells off of, like, Innis Gunn Original, which I just had one, like, last week. You really notice the smells. With this one here, I'm not really picking up much at all. Of course, I can't really spin this around here because the glass isn't really big enough to go out for that. But, I mean, it's got this nice, this little oaky vanilla, like, sense from your bourbon barrel. Not your bourbon barrels, your Scotch whiskey barrels, but you get this nice vanilla, butter toffee kind of smell. Sense that you would find in the malt. And that amber malt caramel kind of taste, smell is really coming through. Alright, let's give it a taste before I spill it on my shirt. Oh yeah. Got some nice butter toffee tastes. Some caramel tastes. And it's got that little bit of like a wintry, alcoholic kind of taste that you would find. Sorry, I'm just checking the camera. There's a limit of 9 minutes on this recording time on this thing. It's got this little bit like a wintry caramel, like that cool, like alcoholic breeze that you get from the drinking from a Scotch whiskey. And then also a little bit of a tiny bit of smokiness from the malt, but you're not really getting a whole lot. I mean, you can tell that it's been brewed and then aged in a whiskey barrel. Other than that, it's got this nice caramel beer. It leaves a nice sweet sensation in the back of your throat. And a nice, like I said, Fuggles, it's got this nice earthy, peppery kind of taste to the back. And you get this little bit of sweetness mixed with alcohol on the tip of the tongue, sweetness in the middle of the tongue, caramel sweetness, and that lingering earthy bitterness in the back, and stays a while in the back of the throat. Anyway, it finishes off somewhat dry, but it leaves a nice lingering bitterness. But it's also not too strong. Like the ABVs of this beer, I'm not an expert in rating ABV, but I would have to guess that this is probably somewhere in the ballpark of like 20 or 30. Nice tasty beer though. Alright, I'm going to sit down with this one for a bit, and I'll come back with some thoughts. I'll be right back. And we're back with Innis Gunn Highland Cask, 18 year, 2011 edition. So what did I think about this particular beer? Well, I'm taking my time with it. That's why I haven't drank a whole lot of it. But I will finish this. Don't worry about that. I really like it. It's actually really good. Got some nice red fruity caramel tastes. Nice some earthy bitterness in the back. There are some whiskey kind of tastes to it, like Scotch whiskey. I'm not really a big Scotch whiskey drinker. But there are some tastes present in there that are indicative of the actual process of maturing in Scotch whiskey barrels. However, that said, there really isn't a whole lot of that. It's actually a rather one-dimensional beer. For an Innis Gunn beer, it's not absolutely complex like their original is, or the rum cask is, or even as complex as what the Canada Day was. That said, it's really good. I do recommend it. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5, but to be totally honest, it's not quite up to the same quality standards that their other beers are. I would recommend this, and I do really like this, and I would buy this again. The thing was $5 for a bottle here, so I'm not sure if I'd really rush out to buy too many of these for that price. But it's good if you want to try something different, and if you're a real big aficionado for Scotch whiskey drinking, this might be something that you want to try. However, for me, I'd be just as happy with the bourbon aged original oak beer, which is still really good. This one's it's sweet. It's not quite cloyingly sweet, but it's really a lot sweeter than the original is. But other than that, it's not really as complex, and it leaves a lot to the imagination as far as that's concerned. Anyway, I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. So, thanks for watching Maxwell Starr's beer reviews. I'm a little tipsy right now, waiting for food to finish. It's almost done. And I'll talk to you later. Cheers.